Welcome back, my friends and fam. My name is Chloe. If you're new, please hit the subscribe button below and hit that notification bell. Comment, like, share, all that fun stuff. So, welcome back to my presidential highlights videos. I'm sorry that I took such a long break. I just didn't feel like doing them for a while. So today we're going to be talking about our 27th president, who was William Howard Taft. Served from 1909 to 1913. He did a lot in his 4 years in office. His vice president was James Sherman. And here's a picture of William Howard Taft. Kind of looks a little bit like Teddy Roosevelt, I think. So let's get into this. So the first 2 years of his presidency is what I'm covering today. So part 2 will be on another video. March 4th, 1909, Taft was inaugurated. March 15th, 1909, the special session convenes. Taft talks about revising the tariff on March 16th. We'll get into the tariff later because I'm like, what tariff are they talking about? April 6th, 1909, Perry reaches the North Pole. And that would be Robert E. Perry, spelled P-E-A-R-Y. May 17th, 1909, Nellie Taft suffers a stroke. Helen Nellie Taft's recovery takes about a year, and it leaves her speech impaired, just like with anybody who suffers a stroke. June 16th, 1909, Taft's first message to Congress. He proposes a 2% tax on all corporations except banks. Proposes Congress adopts a amendment, I'm sorry. It's been a while since I wrote this down, so it's hard for me to read my writing. To permit the collection of personal federal income tax. So we can blame Taft for having a slice of our paychecks taken out of our money that we earn. July 12, 1909, calling for the 16th Amendment. The Senate passes it, authorizes Congress to collect an income tax. July 15, 1909, negotiation with China. Taft requests of Chinese Regent Prince Chun permission for the U.S. investors to build a railroad in southern China. China reluctantly allows it. August 6, 1909, the Payne Aldrich Tariff Act. It establishes a tariff board and reduces the tariff. September 14th, 1909, Taft tours the South and the Southwest. September 17th, 1909, supporting the tariffs. Taft calls the Payne-Aldrich tariff the best tariff bill ever passed, and that's the tariff that I talked about at the beginning. October 16th, 1909, Taft visits Porfirio Diaz. He's a Mexican dictator, or Mexico, took place in El Paso, Texas, and Juarez, Mexico. November 10th, 1909, Taft returns from his tour, gave 259 speeches. What I find funny is there was a person in Winona, Minnesota, who stated, I knew he was good-natured, but I never dreamed he was so dull. I find that funny, especially since we're known as Minnesota Nice. November 13th, 1909. Again, I can't read my writing. Something of conspiracy. Looks like chairs of conspiracy. I'll just read this and maybe it'll make sense. Louis Galvis is Chief of Field Division of Department of Interior. Richard Ballinger is the Secretary of the Interior. Louis charges of conspiracy. Okay, there we go. See, I told you I'd figure it out. Louis charges in Collier's Weekly, which is a published magazine, that Richard conspired to defraud the public domain in Alaska's coal fields. So, coal fields. Taft administration was complicit about this. November 18th, 1909, warships to Nicaragua. Taft sends 2 warships in response to the deaths of 500 revolutionaries and 2 of their advisors at the hands of the dictator Jose Santos Zelaya. Zelaya retires on December 16th. November 20th, 1909, Kellogg versus Standard Oil. Governor-prosecutor Frank Kellogg wins the Court of Appeals case. It was over a monopoly in violation of the Sherman Antitrust Act. And I didn't go into deep details about this, but I'm thinking Standard Oil later became Amoco, which now is BP for your gas. Or for those of you that live outside the country, your petrol. December 20th, 1909, General Wood becomes the Army Chief of Staff. Circuit Judge Horace H. Curtin, I think it's Curtin, something, becomes the Supreme Court judge the same day. January 7th, 1910, Taft fires Gifford Pinchot, who is the head of the Forest Services. The letter released in the Glavis case and written to Senator Dolliver of Iowa on behalf of 2 employees was implicated. February 1st, 1910, the Secretary of State tours the Central and South America. Philander Knox was the Secretary of State, and he toured on a goodwill mission. March 19th, 1910, Republican Republican policy victory. Representative George Norris of Nebraska wins the House over the Speaker, Uncle Joe Cannon of Illinois. April 25th, 1910, Taft appoints Hughes to the Supreme Court. Governor Charles E. Hughes of New York is the name of the guy. May 20th, 1910, Glavis-Bollinger dispute. Glavis's attorney, Louis Brandeis, reveals... Okay, see again, I can't read my own writing. Reveals damaging info about Taft administration. Congress clears Ballinger and the Taft administration. May 31st, 1910, injunction on freight rates. It prevents Western railroads from raising the freight rates. June 18th, 1910, Taft snubs Roosevelt. Now, the 2 had been at odds with each other from the beginning. So upon Roosevelt's return from Africa, if you remember that in Roosevelt's video, where I said after he left he went for a year-long safari in Africa, Taft doesn't greet him. Kind of sounds like 2 presidents that we just recently had a change of the torch, doesn't it? June 20th, 1910, Teddy declines Taft's invitation. Taft invited Teddy Roosevelt to the White House. Teddy praises Taft for the railroad legislation, postal savings bill, and conservationism. So, even though they hate each other, Roosevelt speaks highly of him. And Taft does the same thing of Roosevelt, but they just don't like each other. June 25th, 1910, the Mann Act, also known as White Slave Traffic Act, prohibits the transport of women for immoral purposes. So it sounds like maybe what we have going today, where, I mean, it's more about children, but like sex trafficking. June 25th, 1910, Postal Savings Bank Act allows 1 bank per state under the federal supervision to give 2% interest on accounts under $500. August 31st, 1910, Teddy's New Nationalism Speech. New Nationalism. It was held in Osawatomie, Kansas. You guys have some interesting names for your cities down there in Kansas. Outlines the new role in dealing with social issues. It looks like I put for gout. F-O-R-G-O-U-T. Oh, for government. When I write, sometimes I put 2 words together, so it's hard. Oh my gosh, I've got to do these videos the same day that I write it down so I remember. Endorses the conservation control of trusts, labor protection, and the graduating income tax, and the plight of children and women and the underprivileged. So that's a lot. September 5th, 1910, Taft rejects the joint honor. There was a dinner given by the National Conservation Congress here honoring both Taft and Teddy Roosevelt. September 7th, 1910, excuse me, International Court of Arbitration. It was held at the Hague, I think is what Silverman's told me, and it settles British and U.S. dispute over Newfoundland fisheries. September 10th, 1910, regarding Roosevelt. Taft writes his brother stating the new nationalism is impossible to carry out. September 27th, 1910, Taft supports Roosevelt at the New York Republican Convention in Saratoga. Taft supports Teddy's choice of Governor Henry Stimson. September 29th, 1910, the National Urban League was formed in New York to enable African Americans to secure economic self-reliance, parity, and power, and civil rights. November 1st, 1910, Taft appoints Willis Van Devanter to the Supreme Court, replacing Justice William Moody. November 8th, 1910, the Democrats win the seats. In the House, it's the first time since 1894. So it's 228 to 162 to 1. I don't know why they have three. Maybe one is the Federalist. If the Federalists are still in power, I don't know. And in the Senate, the Republicans still hold the majority at 51 to 41. And the last order of business for his 2 years is December 12th, 1910, Taft appoints Chief Justice Edward White and Joseph Lamar. So, tomorrow, or whenever I decide to do the next video, will be Taft Part 2, and that's when I will bring that newspaper into the video, because that's the part where the Titanic sank. So, make sure that you tune in for that one. Again, I'm sorry it took me so long to do a new video. For those of you that are watching like well past this, you guys are like, well, you did one video after another, but usually I try to do them Monday through Friday, and today is Tuesday, and the last time I did one was like a week ago. So, anyway, I'm sure my time is almost up here, so I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. Hope you guys have a safe and happy day. Have a happy and safe day. Gosh, I am screwing up all over the place in this video. I'm not redoing this. Have a safe and healthy and sunny day. Class is dismissed. We'll see you back on the next one for William Taft Part 2.